beautiful. Welcome to Becoming Her. I am your host, Cassandra Almedo, and I want to start by saying that as my very first actual episode, I really wanted to dig deep in what's really inside of you. So just know that this is not going to be any regular episode. This is going to be a homecoming. But before we get started, I do want to ask of you that if you can just stay still for 1 second, and I don't mean that just physically, but I mean it mentally, emotionally, and still enough where you can still hear her. That little girl that lives inside of you still. The one that never got to cry, the one that never got to speak, the one that's still waiting for you. Because there is a version of you, a younger you, that was told that she was too grown up at a certain age and she had to survive. And it wasn't because she wanted to, but because she was forced. She didn't disappear. She just got quiet. She learned to hold back her tears. She learned not to ask for help. And she learned that love had to be earned. And eventually she stopped showing up. But hear me, because she's still there. And she's still hurting. We carry her everywhere we go. Our marriage, our parenting, and our friendships. She doesn't live just in our memories, but she shows up in our now. She shows up when we lash out at our kids, and not because we're mean, but because we get triggered. She shows up when our partners don't read our minds, because we don't know how to say, I need you, and I don't want to lose you. She shows up when we lose friendships, especially the ones that meant everything, and they even break something very deep inside of you. Not just a friendship, but the hope that someone will finally stay. And maybe you've been wearing a mask for too long. You've been the strong one for too long. You smile at the world for your wins, and you take care of everyone, and you post on social media and pretend that you're happy. But deep down, you feel broken. Not weak, but tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of holding it all together. Tired of being the one that shows up and nobody noticing that you are not okay. But what if I told you that you don't have to carry her alone anymore? I'm going to say something to you that might just change everything. God saw her. He saw every tear you hid. He heard all the silent prayers and the whispers you had at night. All the times you cried to bed. He watched you clean up your own mess and blame yourself when it wasn't even your fault. He never looked away. In fact, I believe that he's the one that brought you to this podcast because he wants to heal that little girl that lives inside of you. With no shame, with no pressure, but with gentleness. But before we get any further, I want to break down 7 steps to healing the inner you and their faces. Step 1, awareness. Recognizing the wounded inner child. This is the phase where you're awakening to the pain. You begin to notice patterns, emotional triggers, perfectionism, that pain to the inner you that is still hurting. Step number 2, acknowledgement. Validating what was. This is a phase where you see and you name your wounds. Accepting what happened and how it affected you. Don't minimize it, justify it, or suppress anymore. You validate your pain with compassion rather than judgment. Step number 3, connections. Rebuilding relationships with the inner child. This is a phase where reparenting begins. You start building a relationship with the inner child within you through meditation, prayer, journaling, self-love, or even writing letters. And you listen to what she needs, whether it's love or compassion or safety. Step number 4, it's expression. Releasing emotions. This is the phase where feeling to heal. Where you're gonna allow yourself to cry, to grieve, to scream, whatever it takes. but this is the phase where you release everything that is stored within inside of you. Step number 5, reparenting. This is where you give yourself everything that nobody gave you. This is the phase where you become the parent you needed. And this might be one of the hardest phases out of all of them. You start showing up for yourself consistently. You set boundaries, nurturing, and self-love. This is where you say, I am here for you. Step number 6, integration. Merging the past with the present. The phase of wholeness and harmony. Your adult self and your inner child start to coexist. You make space for both logic and emotion, strength and softness. Your younger self is no longer hiding or driven because she's safe with you. And if I'm being honest, I will say that I consider myself to be in this phase because I've already worked so hard into all the previous phases and it hasn't been easy, but it's not impossible. I will say I am working towards being in the 7th step, which is transformation. Leaving from the healed self. The phase where you're embodying healing. You move through the world differently, you attract different people, you set boundaries without guilt, you speak to yourself with kindness, affirmations, letters, whatever it takes, and you live with intention and not reaction. That's how healing continues, one moment at a time. So I want to do something right now. I want you to close your eyes and breathe slowly. Put your hand in your heart and take yourself back to whatever age you think of. Whether it's 5, 11, or 15, that's the right one. Can you see her? Can you see her face? Can you see what she's been carrying all of this time? I'm going to be honest with you and vulnerable. My little girl just wanted someone to pick her. She wanted her father to stay and to say to her, you matter to me and I love you for who you are. But he didn't. And for years I blamed myself. And I thought I was unworthy of love, of presence, and of protection. And my mom worked so hard to give everything to us that she was just surviving. She didn't have no space to hold my heart. So I thought myself to be the strong one, the funny one, the one who didn't need anything from anyone. So continue with your eyes closed and your hand in your chest and say the next few words with me. Little me, I see you. I'm sorry that no one protected you. I'm sorry that you had to grow up so fast. I'm sorry they made you feel like you were too emotional and too much. You weren't. You were just a little girl who needed love. And from now on, I promise to love you and I promise to protect you. And I promise that I will never abandon you again. If you're crying, let it flow. Your tears are so holy. They are not weakness, they're release. And maybe nobody else told you this before, but your tears matter. They're the body's way of saying, we're finally letting go. Let it go. Let it break. You've held it long enough. Remember, this is the beginning of your healing. One episode at a time. You're not going to heal by just one episode, but this is the start of something. And that little girl inside of you, she's finally being seen. She's finally being heard. And she's finally being held. Not because you had a breakdown, but because you showed up differently. You choose to open the wound rather than just covering it. You choose to come back to her. That's what becoming really means. It's not about perfectionism. It's about giving yourself permission to be real, to be raw, and to be reborn. So before we end, I want to say, I am proud of you. Not for being strong, but for being soft. For being brave enough to feel. for holding space for the little girl you once were and for the woman you're becoming. If this episode made you cry, good. If it made you breathe deeper, good. And if it made you remember things that you had forgotten, even better. If this episode touched your soul, please share it with a friend who also needs to remember her little girl too. I love you, and so does that little girl. So until next time, keep healing, keep growing, and keep becoming.